Oh. I thought it was gonna just be staying. I thought it was just gonna stay dark, and I'm like, uh-oh. Leo's heavy, soft body presses me into the bed, licking and kissing up my neck. His hands slide up and down my body, feeling out everything, and he's gasping like he can't catch his breath. I lay there, my eyes shut, as I feel his cock pressing up against mine, writhing every time Leo reaches down to grasp them together. I slide my own hands down his back until they reach his rear, and I squeeze hard under his tail, forcing another gasp out of the big wolf. Slowly, he starts to lick down the length of my body, starting with my chest, then down to my stomach. He pauses, to snuffle and tease against my navel, before his mouth finally closes around me. My eyes roll back as I clutch into the sheets, arching my back. I listen as Leo showers down the hall, and I smile as I hear him singing. I'd usually shower with him back in the day, but I was so tired I passed out as soon as we both finished.
That's kind of cute.
Once I opened my eyes again, Leo was already in the shower.
That stress noise got me again.
Would you like some buzzing?
No.
Buzzing? I'm about to drift off again when I hear Leo's phone buzz. He'd been on it all day, probably trying to coordinate a meeting with the others. It's already Friday, which is hard to believe. We had to get together again before we lost the chance. I look over. The screen's already lit up, so I sit up and look. A message from Flynn. Yeah, well, fuck you too. Yeah, I don't think Leo's telling the truth about the other people.
Yeah.
I think he's ignoring or figuring out or worming his way out of everything because he has Chase.
Remember that hike we promised TJ? What day was that supposed to be again?
Not exactly a surprising message to get from Flynn, but I still wonder what they're fighting about. From the sound of it, Leo's still in the middle of his shower, still rocking out to his diva pop song.
Save slot.
Of course we're not going to respect his privacy.
No, I want to see what it says.
We need to know what happens.
We're not boring.
Because something bad has to be happening. He's definitely lying. With some amount of guilt, I reach over and grab his phone and open up his texts. His phone doesn't have a password?
Dude, I feel like...
Can you even do that anymore?
Leo's so in love with you that he probably just was like, you can have my password.
They're going to be... unless he doesn't notice.
It's probably Chase's fucking birthday. Because Leo's such a sap.
Chase's birthday?
Yeah.
His password is...
I feel like Leo would have Chase's birthday as his own password for his phone.
Immediately I see a few pinned conversations. They're from me. A few conversations? Wouldn't they all be in one?
Well, I think pinning means that they're like you saved those ones in particular. I don't know how any of this works. Also, you can have your phone set up without a password because, like, it caused me problems a long time ago.
Judging by the dates, they're from when I was still away at college. There's also a few saved attachments, and I quickly swipe away to the other, more recent conversations. The latest is from earlier this morning, and it looks like it was from Flynn. Chase has a project to do.
He's still bad at texting.
Yeah. Bullshit. You're fucking with him. You're fucking with him again, huh? I'm helping him. You planned this from the start, didn't you? What? This whole thing. It was to get back into his pants. How about I planned this after you ruined the entire week, huh? Yeah, well, fuck you too. That's less revelatory than I expected.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much just exactly what we thought.
I frown. It's too bad Leo and Flynn are still fighting, but for some reason their exchange has me feeling uneasy. I pull up his next recent text thread, one with Carl. Carl asked Leo when we're hanging out again, yesterday night. Leo pokes some fun at him about sleeping in the crawl space. Then Leo tells him that he isn't sure. They'll probably be too busy with my project to hang out. Leo never asked me. I feel my heart start to pound. Today, Carl texted again, asking how things were going. Leo tells him that I wanted to go to high school for nostalgia's sake, that I wanted to be alone for it. He sent that 2 hours before we even got there, before he acted as if it was on a whim. Then Jenna asks if Leo's avoiding her, if she said something wrong. Leo tells her everything's fine, but again, I'm too busy to hang out. And then his text to TJ. Hey, yesterday was so much fun. I know you said you were probably going to be busy, but I wanted to check.
Oh, smiley face.
Smiley face. Jace is still pretty sad about what happened Monday. I think he needs more time. Oh, okay. Please tell him I'm sorry. He told me he was fine yesterday, but I guess he must have been faking it for my sake.
That's... TJ's growing on me a little bit, because he's such a...
No, I knew it from the fucking get-go that he's gonna be a sweetheart.
He's such a baby.
It's like, this poor guy, he feels so bad, and everything's his fault. And it's like, fucking Leo is using the guilt that he has about what happened against him, even though it's Flynn's bullshit. It's Flynn's just weaponizing TJ's trauma guilt against him forever, and then the guilt that comes from that Leo uses against TJ, and it's like, Jesus Christ, no wonder TJ needs Jenna. Yeah, he's still pretty broken up. We'll figure it out, though. I'm gripping the phone hard. Could Leo really have done all this?
I really feel like they should have all just texted...
To TJ, especially.
Chase. You really think that, like it's like one of those things where it's like, hey, are you doing okay? Like, why don't... I feel like, I don't know, there's like some weird suspicion. Like, why are they texting Leo about hanging out with us?
Does Chase not... Chase does have a phone. We established it last timeline, yeah. Yeah,
it's like he's not our keeper. They should be asking us.
I sit there quietly, listening to my wolf continue to sing. My stomach twists up as I realize that now I have to confront him on this.
So if the other choice, you wouldn't have confronted about it.
Mm-hmm. And this could have consequences. I was just thinking earlier this episode, like, we have not had a choice yet, I don't think, right? In Leo's route?
Shoot. I feel like we have, but I'm not remembering what it was. It was something less... I feel like there was something maybe less relevant.
I guess this is probably a choice.
Which one was it?
I don't know. I don't know. But it looks like it might not be in the Carl route. I've let things slide before, but this is on a different level. I hug my knees and stare at the wall, feeling strangely violated now. As I stare, I see a dark spot with spindly legs move across the wall.
Spider again.
The spider pauses, as if acknowledging me before disappearing into the dark corner. I sit on hard, uneven ground, shivering as I try to cover myself up with a blanket. My eyes adjust enough for me to realize that I'm outside somewhere, looking through the branches of dead trees to the many stars above me. Aside from the calls of a few birds, it's completely silent. I stare at the sky above me for a while, wishing that it wasn't so cold that I could go back to sleep. Where am I? The silent confusion I feel mixed in with the apathy of just waking up is a familiar feeling. I can remember when my parents forced me into the Boy Scouts 10 years ago. I hated it so much, especially the camping. I could never fall asleep, and when I finally did, it would be marred by me tossing and turning, waking up in confusion as to where I was. I'd sit up straight in the tent, looking around me for up to 10 minutes, wondering why I was in complete darkness and sitting in a sleeping bag. Except now there's no tent or a sleeping bag.
I do find it really uncanny, those times where you wake up and you forget that you're somewhere different.
Yeah.
Like when we were on vacation, me waking up and being like, oh yeah, I'm on vacation. Like, this isn't my bed. I'm not at home right now.
I find it interesting just to, like, recognize moments that, like, specific authors remember and, like, call back to repeatedly. Because this is exactly how Marco reacts when he wakes up for the first time in Ad Astra. And there's the exact thought process of, like, having a process of realizing where he is again and realizing that it was all real.
I wonder if that's something that, like, the author just thinks about. Maybe they have sleep issues.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if the author has sleep paralysis or not, for example. It's really interesting because I met somebody with sleep paralysis and who described it in detail to me, and then I started playing Echo. And I'm like, oh, well, this is immediately relevant. That's why I had sleep paralysis details to share, because I was just talking about things I'd just been told not long before. It's just a weird coincidence.
Like I said, I've only had this couple times, but it was so jarring that I can't, I'll remember it forever because it was very, very weird.
I'll very rarely wake up to some kind of night terror type thing, but I've definitely never sleep paralysis. It's the anti-paralysis. I'm very mobile when I wake up. I jump right out of bed. My mind works slowly like it's drenched in molasses, and I knead the ground with my fingers, digging them into the dead vegetation and soil. And then, finally, I break through the barrier to lucidity, and I realize what's happening to me is real. I'm outside. I look left and right and see that I'm surrounded by trees or bushes. The smell of sagebrush and dirt fills my nostrils as I unsteadily get to my feet. My limbs and flesh are numb from the cold, and I rub my hands up and down my arms, trying to find some warmth. Did I sleepwalk? I must have, unless Leo took me out here for some reason. Or someone else did. I shiver. There's not much else I can do except walk forward. Ahead of me, it looks like the branches clear out into more darkness. I hope that I'm just behind Leo's house, where I know there are some bushes and trees. Either way, I can't be that far from the house. So I start walking, reaching out blindly to move past sharp branches and prickly bushes. It's way weird to wake up somewhere other than where you expect to. When even after you're lucid, you're like, I didn't come here. That's alarming. The pain wasn't that bad. Not nearly as bad as you'd think it would be. I look back behind me, staring hard into the blackness. I can't see anything beyond the branches right in front of me, which give me the impression of gnarled teeth in front of a dark, endless mouth. Quickly, I turn back around and push through the dead vegetation in front of me, trying not to panic. But I knew I was dead the moment I looked down. What? I knew I would... This is weird. Is he just having is it all a dream?
I think so.
There's strange declarations. A branch scrapes across my cheek, and another stabs me hard in the hip as I run right into it. 2 stumps, gushing blood, splashing the wheels of the train and rails.
I knew we'd have a dream about this.
I finally break out into the open. Now I can see more stars above me, but the complete lack of a moon makes almost everything around me impossible to see. I can at least tell it's a large clearing, but no matter how hard I squint, I can't see ahead of me. Tentatively, I start walking forward, looking left and right for any sign of lights that might help guide me back into town. I can feel a worrying seed of panic starting up in my chest, and I worry it's going to explode out of me at any second. The last thing I need is me running through the night screaming my head off. Pretty soon I become aware of what looks like a large block in front of me. Again, I reach out my hands, walking slower as I approach whatever it is that's in front of me. They press up against something rough, hard, and cold. Whatever it is made of some type of metal. It feels broken and rusted, so I assume it's old. Was it a warehouse of some kind? I sidestep to the right until my hands run up against some bars that stick out from the structure, and that's when it hits me. It's a freight car from the old train. Sure enough, the next thing my hands meet is empty space as I come across what I remember to be the open door I had sat in earlier. I was out in the train yard. I almost laugh. Did my anxiety about finishing the project cause me to sleepwalk all the way back out here? At least now I know exactly where I am. I rest my hands on the edge of the car, breathing in the musty air inside. There's a hint of something sweet and sick on top of it, and it crosses my mind that anything could have crawled inside and died. I quickly move away from the car. Turning my body in the direction I know Leo's house is in, I start walking again, that text kept going. Pouring through my recent memories to see if I could somehow remember how the hell I got here. I remember Leo coming back into the bedroom, putting his arm around me. Then, nothing.
You just pranked him.
I definitely fell asleep. Sleepwalking is the only answer. The sound of wrestling behind me makes me jump, but I keep moving forward, not wanting some tiny creature in the grass getting me spooked. Squinting ahead of me, I see no lights yet, which is strange because I know Echo should have at least a few lights on, the street lights at least. A loud metallic clang fills the air, and this time I do whirl around. Hello? My voice is still scratchy from waking up, and I cough to clear it. Hello? The loudness of my voice actually startles me, but the response is silence. Did a bird hit it? Maybe I knocked something loose when I was feeling around. I'm definitely not going back to check it, though. So with a quickened pace, I start moving again.
Oh, man.
That's when I hear more shifting around the car, like something's rolling around inside. This is a surreal sequence, partly because it kept throwing like doubt that it was even happening. Like there was like just weird lines about his legs being gone that clearly aren't true, but they were just worked in there.
I'm still questioning it. I get the impression that we woke up and we were half asleep, and now I think we're awake. But how? But like what?
His description was nuts.
Why are we out here? Is it like one of those horrible pranks where somebody puts somebody on a bed and puts them out in the middle of a lake and allows them to wake up?
Are we gonna find a body in that train car in the morning?
Maybe.
Is it Clint?
I mean, definitely could be.
I stop walking again and hold still, perking my ears as I try to hold my breath, heart pounding. This time I don't call out, and instead just listen. I swallow, and it's so loud I almost jump at that sound. But again the sound stops completely. I wait a while longer before I start moving again, this time at a slight jog.
This would be genuinely very scary.
Yes. A crazy thought enters my mind where I think maybe Leo and I got really drunk and maybe we both came out here and blacked out. And that Leo is in the train car right now, hungover and rolling around. It's in the middle of that thought, though, that the sound starts up again. It's louder this time, and ends with it cutting off for a split second before something heavy thuds to the dead vegetation below.
Fucking fuck.
I stop again, but this time it's so that whatever it is doesn't hear me, knowing that if I keep walking, the heavy crunches of my footsteps will allow for it to pinpoint me immediately. My throat is completely dry, and a new thought enters my mind. It could be Clint. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he comes out here to sleep in the train cars. That would totally be something he'd do. While it does ease my worries a little bit, I'm not fully relaxed because I know the dumb fuck has a gun. I also know he wouldn't hesitate to shoot at something if it startled him. So I crouch down a bit, waiting, listening, and now I'm pretty sure I can hear breathing. Ragged, wheezy breathing that definitely sounds like Clint. I gather up some spit in my mouth so my tongue doesn't stick to the roof of it, and take a small breath. Hey, Clint? I say it gently, quietly, but I'm sure he can hear me. I get some more silence in return, but I also get the distinct feeling that he's listening back. I try again. It's me. There's an explosion of energy and sound in front of me, but it's not a gunshot. Instead, it's a sense of forward momentum that I can physically feel, like whatever it is in front of me is lunging forward at me. 2 loud thuds, one following the other in less than half a second, followed by an explosive dragging sound. The cycle repeats the second it ends. What is dragging?
That's
such a weird description. Whatever it is sounds desperate, almost manic, but I don't stick around to find out, because before I know it, my legs are carrying me through the clearing as fast as they can. All thoughts of what it could be are gone from my mind, as I dodge into the trees and bushes to my right, knowing that if I can break through the other side, I'll be right in front of Leo's house. What's behind me, though, is moving impossibly fast. Already it sounds like the distance between me and it has been cut in half, and I'm struggling between branches and sagebrush. I hear it break into the brush with me. I gasp as full-on panic sets in. Leo! Leo! I scream as loud as I can, knowing that he should be able to hear me, also knowing that he sleeps like a rock. The thing behind me seems to double its efforts as the sound of my voice, and the cycle of its movement increased. It now has the momentum of a gallop. My breaths are coming in panic gasps, and now I know I'm not gonna make it because it's only 3 feet behind me. As if a window opens up in the back of my mind, I see it. 2 clawed hands outstretched towards me, a face that flashes past too fast for me to make out, but I manage to see a lipless mouth. And then it slams into my back and crushes me into the ground against sharp branches and rocks. I gasp as the air is crushed out of me, but before I can suck it back in, those hands wrap around my neck. I struggle and pull, but it's like I'm an ant under a foot. I'm so thoroughly pinned that I can't even budge an inch. There's hissing behind my head, and I feel dripping against the back of my neck. Tears squeeze out of my eyes as I try to reach forward, but it's like I'm paralyzed. Paralyzed. I'm yanked back, suddenly, my face coming out of something soft and white. A pillow.
Damn, they got me, because I was like, I really was questioning the reality of the situation.
I was extremely unsure what to think about that scene. How's it going, Chase?
Oh,
Chase, you okay? Leo's husky voice whispers into my ear as I take in a huge gasp of air. Whoa, can't breathe? I cough and gasp, my face wet with tears as I sit in the bed, looking around. Funny detail, as far as I can remember, I think if you have a darker version of a character model, like one specifically like Leo's in the dark here, I think you just have to do it again, but darker, and then tell the game to do that, to use that model. I don't think that Ren'Py can make your character darker. I don't think it supports that. I think that's just another sprite. That's the same sprite, but darker.
what a pain in the ass.
Yeah. I cough and gasp, my face wet with tears as I sit in the bed looking around. Oh, baby. It's okay. Leo draws me into a warm hug, and I take it limply, my mind only now catching up. I cough a few more times. Sorry. Paralysis. Couldn't move. Leo rocks me a few times, making shushing sounds. I remember you telling me about that. Good thing I was here to pull you out of your pillow. I nod against my chest, realizing how dangerous it could have been if he hadn't been there. I usually come out of the paralysis in under a minute, but sometimes. I shudder and pull back out of the hug, wiping my face. Do we almost suffocate from sleep paralysis today in every route?
No, because the first time we almost suffocate from sleep paralysis is what makes Flynn freak out.
Yeah.
And yell at us. So, I mean, that happens in every playthrough no matter what.
No. That's not before the split.
I thought that one was the first time.
Flynn was just already being a dick, and we went and we're like, fuck this, and we went and had that beautiful painting moment.
But that's when we had sleep paralysis.
We went back to the lake after the job interview, and everything, and it's like, oh, we're all gonna face our trauma, and everything's going just how I always hoped it would. And then the sleep paralysis moment has everyone freak out, and then it goes super poorly, and then we run away.
Okay, yeah, I got mixed up.
Yeah, that's because we weren't at the lake in the beginning of the game. We were at the river.
Yeah, we're at the river. Yeah, we go to the lake, and then Chase jumps in the water because he's trying to make good with the shitty situation.
But we were guessing
that ends up sleep paralysis.
We were guessing that might have been today.
Yeah, that is true.
So I'm like, hey, look, we almost suffocated from sleep paralysis at the same point in the timeline again.
That would be really interesting.
I shudder and pull back out of the hug, wiping my face. What did you dream about? I try to think back, but the dream is fleeing my mind as fast as whatever it was that was chasing me. What was chasing me? I can't remember. Leo rubs my shoulder and looks at my face. It's dark, but I can see the white of his eye patches, giving him an almost ghostly appearance. You want to stay up? I can make you tea or something. The adrenaline is already leaving me to be replaced by fatigue, but the offer sounds nice. Sure. Alright, want to come with me? I pause, then shake my head, wanting to collect myself alone for a moment. Nah, no, just give me a second. Alright. Leo leans forward and kisses me on the forehead, before leaving me alone in the dark room. I lay back down to my side, trying again to remember what I had dreamed about. I was in the woods, and something was after me. That's about all I can recall. The warmth Leo left in the bed quickly has me drowsy again, and I'm about to drift off when something pokes me in the foot. I try to ignore it, but the thought of an insect of some kind has me reaching down to feel at it. It's hard and crackly, whatever it is, and when I pull it up, I find a dead leaf.
Oh no.
Frowning, I pull back the sheets, and there, clinging to the fabric and fur on my feet, is dirt and leaves. The fuck? No! Wait. Where's the picture? There's no picture. What's Saturday? What's gonna happen on Saturday?
You don't...
What's gonna happen on Saturday?
It's ambiguous.
No. Leo wakes me up early the next day, telling me he has to settle some stuff with his dad at the shop. I don't get much of a chance to ask why, or for how long he'll be out, for how long before he's out the door, yelling something about food being in the fridge.
It's just TV dinners. The whole fridge is full of TV dinners.
Just stacks of them.
Gosh.
I immediately fall back asleep, though, and when I open my eyes again, it's 2 hours later. Leo texted me half an hour ago.
It's always really creepy when he pulls his hand up.
We have not seen this very often.
Look at his spacing. His kerning is terrible.
His kerning? Oh, you mean like the random...
The hugest space between the first line and the bottom line?
Oh, that you put an extra line in. That's not kerning. Kerning's between letters.
Oh, but it wouldn't count for between words and between lines?
No, kerning's the font.
Oh.
Like how it spaces letters, or how you wrote them. If you were like trying to like write out like a title or something for like or painting it out or something.
But I feel like
he's just making weird boomer formatting choices.
There's two spaces like down, and then like two spaces again.
It is more work to type the @ symbol than to type AT.
It is. You're right. I think he's super hip.
Still at Pop's shop, but be back soon. Wait, why is there?
But be back soon.
Yeah, he just makes weird typing mistakes.
I think. Oh no.
I think.
He's probably in trouble for ditching work. He probably didn't get the fucking week off. And he's probably getting yelled at by his dad.
He probably is.
Yeah.
Because he lied about everything else, so his dad's probably pissed off at him right now, and he's trying to resolve it this morning. I swallow back down the lump of dread in my throat as I remember the text messages. I didn't want to confront him, not one bit, but I can't just let it sit. Something has to be said before I leave. I lay around for another 20 minutes before grabbing my phone to browse a bit. That's when I realized I hadn't charged it last night. My battery's just at 25%. No, not at the beginning of horror weekend.
Uh-oh.
You prepared poorly.
Remember, our phone wasn't available last time either.
Yeah. I groan and throw an arm over my eyes. 1 day left to do the project. I'm so far behind, though, that I'm not even feeling any anxiety about it at this point. Just resigned. I should have known better, really, that I wasn't going to get anything done with Leo around. I stare at the wall for a while longer before I force myself to sit up. No use lying around. I might not be making my best project, but it didn't mean that I couldn't do a few things to make it less terrible. Food momentarily crosses my mind, but I shrug it off. I've never been a breakfast person anyway. Cannot relate. At all. What is that even like? Impossible.
A lot of people.
Next, you're gonna tell me he's not even human. Wait.
A lot of people don't eat breakfast.
Wrong.
I feel like half the people I know don't eat breakfast.
Weird otter people. As soon as I leave the house, I notice things are a bit off. Firstly, it's dead quiet. Usually there's some kind of drone. Whether it's the wind or a plane overhead, there's usually something. No sound of birds either. And those were always chirping in the morning. I stand in the doorway for a bit, feeling a vague sense of tension, electricity in the air. Something building. I shake my head, feeling dizzy. That dream last night has fucked me up all kinds of ways, so it's not surprising that it's probably still messing with me. I mean, the part where he woke up with the stuff was real, right? Like, that's distressing. What? Yeah,
like, wait until...
This makes me think that he got caught by something and, like, injected him or something, and, like, he's got, like... He's gonna, like, have a chest burster or something.
Like, wait to, like, just glance over something that's really alarming, and...
Yeah.
I would have screamed, probably.
Yeah. I'll be glad to be gone from this place tomorrow. Some rustling next door draws my attention, and I see Kudzu, carrying a set of clippers, walking across his front yard. Hey, so what was that yelling last night? I open my mouth to say hi, but I hold back, feeling self-conscious. His brooding nature is a bit intimidating, and I don't know if he's the kind of person who expects a greeting or not.
That can be hard to gauge.
I'm not left to wonder long, though, because he spots me and almost immediately raises a hand.
Oh, so that seems like what he would do, just like, hey.
Yeah.
Morning.
Oh, hey there. He grunts before setting his attention on a bush in front of him, sizing it up. I stand there awkwardly for a bit longer, wondering if that's the end of our exchange, but he speaks up again.
Leo take off?
He nods his head at the empty driveway. Cool, we're trapped here. Oh yeah, earlier this morning. I walk down from the porch and walk over to the edge of Leo's lawn, so it doesn't feel like we're yelling at each other. Said something about having to take care of business with his dad.
I see.
Kudzu stops trimming and looks up at me before smiling. Is this a carefully trimmed bushes kind of neighborhood?
I just think Kuzu would be that kind of person that would take care of his yard that's out in the middle of nowhere that no one cares about.
He's like shaping the sagebrush into like animals.
He's doing a Edward Scissorhands.
Because this photo just looks like a wasteland. It doesn't look like they have yards.
Yeah, exactly. He's doing like a poodle and like a dolphin.
Out of like a tumbleweed. Kudzu stops trimming and looks up at me before smiling. That's what smiling looks like.
You can come on my lawn. It's not like I have an electric fence or anything.
Looking down, I see that I'm towing the edge of his immaculate lawn on Leo's side, looking like a little kid. I blush before stepping over to crunch along the tan-colored gravel he has set out.
Oh, he has just like a really great yard.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think they mentioned him having like a desert scape or something.
That's cool.
So he's got gravel and bushes and so on. The type of yard you probably should have in most of our country because we're wasting so much water, especially in California.
Yeah, that's like California.
Like, lawns should be illegal in California.
Kentucky bluegrass is a waste of water and it provides nothing.
And it's not from Kentucky and it's not blue.
Yep.
It's weird how nice it all is, especially compared to the shitty trailer sitting in the middle of it all. All right, man. If you had an Adobe-styled house, the place would be southwestern perfection. This all looks really nice. I guess gardening is your hobby?
Thanks.
Not gonna answer the rest of that question.
I don't have hobbies.
I like to be mysterious. I also never change my clothes. Kuzu snips at the bush rather aggressively.
I like it. It's what I do most of the day.
The raccoon moves to the side of the bush, examining it. Helps my PTSD.
Oh, it's peaceful.
Isn't that the vibe you get?
Yeah.
He's just getting away from something fucked up that happened. He's just like, I'm just gonna prune these bushes and eat TV dinners. Now he probably cooks.
Yeah, I was thinking. Yeah,
he's got to use the rest of his time. He gives the bush another snip before resting a hand on his hip, while he lets the clippers dangle in the other.
And it keeps you in shape.
Can't argue with that. Although he's skinny, the muscles showed through the fur on his arms. He's probably the most in-shape guy I've seen in Echo. I realize I'm staring and quickly snap my eyes back to his, but he's already smirking. Also, he was looking and then snapped his eyes away. Romance option unlocked. I worry he's about to point out that he caught me, but instead he gestures at my camera bag with its clippers.
Gonna do something for your project?
Ah, yeah, just... I need to get a bit more film before I leave tomorrow. The slender raccoon wipes his forehead with a forearm.
Anything in particular?
I think. Not really, just old stuff to show the town's age. Kuzu sticks the clippers into the ground, looking up as he seems to think.
I know of a few things. You go to the old school?
Yeah, was headed there actually.
And then there's the ruins next to the lake.
Yep, was gonna wait for Leo to drive me there later today.
Other than that, there's an old rusted pump up the road, but I don't know if that's actually from Echo's earlier days.
Couldn't hurt to look. Where's it exactly? Kuzu points over my shoulder, up the road.
Down past Duke's house, right before the convenience store.
Hey, let's walk by Duke's house. That's a good setup.
Then he can say how he saw us again.
Yep.
He'd be like, oh, I saw you again.
Yeah, you were screaming.
It's kinda hidden back in some brush, but I can take you there.
Oh, if it's no trouble.
It's fine. I've got plenty of time to do this today.
Well, alright, thanks. I shift the bag on my shoulder and stand to the side as Kuzu tosses the clippers beside the bush, then starts walking towards the road. I follow him quietly, again feeling awkward under his no-nonsense attitude.
So, you and Leo getting along?
Yeah, we're having fun. My mind wanders back to the text messages and my stomach clenches.
Good. He's been looking forward to this week for a while now. Wouldn't shut up about it last week.
I'm somewhat surprised that Kuzu's filling the silence between us. Not that I mind. He's pretty good at it for such a somber guy. I smile. Yeah, that's Leo. He really misses our old pack. Or does he?
I mean, the one he's been avoiding?
Kuzu huffs a laugh.
Wolves.
I agree. Wolves. As we walk, I can smell the heavy musk coming from the raccoon, mingled with his scent neutralizer, evidence of a hard day's work. There's something special about hanging out with another musky creature.
Oh.
Raccoons and otters, I guess.
Yeah, I guess they both have...
What a detail. Alright.
Musk glands or whatever. I never thought about that.
It makes you less self-conscious. So, I know you hate Peyton, but don't you have to go back there to work?
Back in the day. Had a job studying desert plants after college. Good times.
That would definitely put him a few steps above most everyone living in Echo, where a high school diploma is a rare thing.
I'm a clerk in the town hall, so no, I'm pretty much always here.
No. Isn't Flynn also at town hall?
Yeah.
Always? Do you have a car?
Sold it after I came here.
Wow. Didn't you have to get out to shop for food?
Sometimes. I grow and fish for what I can, and the convenience store has a surprisingly good produce section. But otherwise, Leo gives me rides once in a while.
Ah, gotcha. Again, I'm curious about what exactly happened in Peyton. I'm gonna be gone by tomorrow, and I don't find the question to be too intrusive, especially with all the information he's providing so far. So I don't want to be nosy. I left the statement hang for a moment, and Kuzu turns his head towards me.
Then maybe you shouldn't ask. Damn.
That stops me short. I almost stop walking. I feel my face get warm, even under the heat of the sun. I glance over at the raccoon, but his expression isn't accusatory or angry. It's just as neutral as it always is. It makes me wonder if this is just the raccoon's way of speaking. I already know how blunt he can be. I decide to trust what little I know about him and press forward. No? I ask with the same straight face.
Well, you should always ask yourself if asking something nosy is a good idea. No reason to do it if it's gonna piss someone off needlessly.
Ah. But before I can even consider, Kuzu goes on.
Now, considering what we were just talking about, I can probably guess what you're gonna ask.
I can feel the embarrassment returning. Yeah?
But before I answer it, I have a question for you.
I shrink a little more into myself. Yeah?
Why do you care?
The question definitely catches me by surprise, and at first I wonder if this is just Kuzu's ways of telling me to shut up. But again, after looking at his face, I decide to just tell him the truth. I clear my throat. Well, I like you. You're a cool guy.
He is a cool guy.
It comes out rather lamely, but it is the truth. He has a demeanor of not really giving a fuck about what others think of him. It's like Flynn, except Kuzu didn't seem like he was putting up a front at all. On top of that, he stepped in to stop a crowbar-wielding drug addict when he saw his friend in danger. Kuzu laughs, genuinely, and it's a bit startling.
That's really the reason?
I'm flustered again. Well, yeah.
Fair enough. And I like you too. Leo is mostly right about you.
What did Leo say about me?
A lot of things. But you can't expect a wolf as love-smitten as he is to not exaggerate, can you?
No, I guess not. I step on a particularly large rock and nearly lose my balance.
Bad at walking.
Chase!
Bad at walking.
Before I can even stumble, though, Kuzu's grasping my arm tightly, stopping me from running into him. Whoa. Sorry, and thanks. This raccoon had damn fast reflexes, which will matter later, probably.
No problem.
I start to walk again, but Kuzu doesn't move. I stop and glance at him, but he's looking up at the road, not at me.
I lost someone in Peyton.
It takes me a moment to realize what he's talking about, but then I do.
By a guy with a gun who didn't give a fuck.
I swallow, and don't say anything, looking down at the ground.
Happened on the same street we lived on.
Of course, I have no idea what to say, and wait for Kuzu to go on, but he doesn't. When I look up, I see that he's looking right at me. I swallow. Yeah, that would make me want to move too.
Yeah. People. And there's less of them here.
I'm sorry. Kuzu just looks back at me.
Why?
I open my mouth, but before I can say anything, Kuzu smiles.
I'm kidding.
I let my breath out in relief and laugh a little. Well, should we keep going? I make as if to walk up the road again, but Kuzu doesn't follow. When I look back, he nods at the brush on the side of the road.
It's right in here.
Oh, we're gonna go die in the woods.
About time.
This is way more brush than I expected in this setting. I keep getting a very different read of this area because the road pictures are such like wasteland nothing.
Do we trust Kuzu?
Yeah, every time I get to certain places, I'm like, wait, this... what's the environment like here?